Good morning, guys. Today we are going to review dividing fractions. So let's take a look at the steps for dividing fractions. Remember, step one is to change all numbers to fractions. So if I have a whole number, I put it over 1. If I have a mixed number, I take the whole number times the denominator, add the numerator. So 1 times 2 is 2, plus 1 is 3, so I get 3 over 2. The second step is to circle the second fraction, and you have to make sure that you don't change the order, that you circle the correct second fraction. Then you're going to flip the second fraction, so my 3 over 2 becomes 2 over 3, and then you change it to multiplying. Step 3, you're going to cross cancel if possible. So notice diagonally, I divide by 3, I get 1, divide by 3, I get 1, and then you're going to multiply and reduce. So when I multiply straight across, I get 1 times 2 is 2, 1 times 1 is 1. When the top number is bigger, you divide. So 2 divided by 1 equals 2. So let's take a look at your workbook pages for today. Your pages are 13 and 14. So question number 1. It has a table, and on the left we have the we have the dividing, and on the right we have the multiplying. Notice that this fraction, 3/4, has been flipped. We circle and flip the second fraction. Solve it. And what you should notice for part A, you're going to tell me how are they the same and how are they different. So after you answer these, what's the same between here, and then what's different? For part B, I want you to rewrite the steps that we just went over on how to divide fractions. Let's look at question number 2. On question number 2, we have 1 1/4 divided by 4. So remember, you got to change all numbers to fractions. So 1 times 4 is 4, plus 1 is 5. So I have 5 over 4 divided by 4 over 1. Then you're going to circle the second fraction, flip the second fraction, change it to multiplying. Question number 3. Remember to circle the second fraction, flip the second fraction, and change it to multiplying. Question number 4. Jillian picks up some grapefruit. She places all the grapefruits that weigh exactly 1/2 a pound into a bag. The total weight of the grapefruits in the bag is 6.5 pounds. How many grapefruits are in the bag? Anytime a question says how many of this are in that, it's a dividing question. So you're going to take 6.5 divided by 1/2. So remember to change all numbers to fractions, circle the second fraction and flip it, change it to multiplying, and then multiply. For question number 5, it says estimate to compare. Remember, estimating means you're going to round to the nearest whole number. So if I put 18 3/10 on a number line, is that closer to 18 or 19? You also want to make sure you use what's called compatible numbers. So for example, on this one, 2 and 5, 6, notice 5 is close to 6. That means I'm going to round up to 3. Okay, whenever your numerator is close to your denominator, you're going to round up. So 2 and 5, 6 is closer to 3 whole. And you could graph that on a number line on your scratch paper if you need to figure out what it's closest to. So this rounds to 3. So I need to round this to a number that's close to this that 3 will go into. So 3 goes into 18. So I'm going to round this to 18. So 18 divided by 3 gives me 6 on this side. On this side, I go, okay, 3 and 1/3. 1 is not close to 3. I mean, it's kind of close to 3, but it's closer to 0. So this will round down to 3. And so I need a number on this side that 3 goes into. So normally I would round 7/9 up, and this would go to 31. But 3 does not go into 31, so I would round this to 30 because I want compatible numbers I can divide evenly. So 30 divided by 3 gives me 10, and then you do greater than, less than, or equal to. So for each set, you got to round to the nearest whole number and also make sure that they are compatible. So for example, if I round this to 6, I need to round this to a number that's close to this that 6 goes into evenly. Do all of the problems before you continue with the video, please. So pause your video before you move on. Okay, so on question number 1, it wanted to know how are those columns the same and how are they different. They're the same because they're the same at the top because they give you the same answer. So, for example, 1/5 divided by 1/3 is going to give you the same answer as 1/5 times 3/1. So they give you the same answer. They are opposite operations. That's how they're different. One is multiplying and one is dividing. For part B, when dividing fractions, you're going to circle the second fraction, flip the second fraction, change it to multiplying. So you're explaining the steps of dividing fractions. Question number 2. Notice 1 times 4 is 4 plus 1 is 5, so that's 5/4. This 4/1 is going to be flipped to 1/4. I multiply straight across, then I get 5/16. For question number 3, again, I circle the second fraction and flip it. 6 times 3 is 18. 7 times 1 is 7. Remember, when the top number is bigger, you're going to divide. So 18 divided by 7 gives you 2 and 4/7. Question number 4, again, 6 times 2 is 12 plus 1 is 13, so I have 13/2. And then I'm circling and flipping, so times 2/1. Notice I can cross cancel, divide by 2, I get 1. When I multiply straight across, I'm going to get 13/1, which reduces to 13. Let's take a look at number 5. Okay, on number 5, like I said, this is going to round up to 3. 3 goes into 18, so 18 divided by 3 equals 6. This one is going to round to 3. I rounded this first to 31 because 7 is close to 9, but I noticed that 3 doesn't go into 31, so I rounded to 30. 30 divided by 3 is 10, and notice 10 is bigger than 6, so 6 is less than 10. Again, I rounded this one first, rounds down to 6. 6 goes into 18, so I rounded up to 18. 18 divided by 6 equals 3. 4 5/8 is closest to 5 because 5 is close to 8. I rounded up. Goes into 20, so 20 divided by 5 equals 4, and 3 is less than 4. And then 6 1/4 rounds to 6. 6 goes into 36, which is close to this, so 36 divided by 6 equals 6. 2 3/4 rounds up to 3. 3 goes into 12, so I rounded to 12. 12 divided by 3 equals 4, and 6 is greater than 4. If you have any questions, email me. And I hope you're having a great week. Bye.